Dennis Nilsen, The Dark Journey of a Scottish Murderer. Welcome to The Most Evil, where we delve into the minds of history's most notorious serial killers. Dennis Nilsen, a name synonymous with horror and depravity. Known as the Scottish Murderer, Nilsen's gruesome killing spree in the late 1970s and early 1980s left a scar on the collective psyche. Today, we dive deep into the chilling story of one of the most notorious serial killers in history. Dennis Andrew Nilsen was born on November 23, 1945, in Fraserburgh, Scotland. His parents' marriage was unhappy, leading to a turbulent childhood. Nilsen, his mother, and his siblings lived with his maternal grandfather, whom Nilsen adored. However, the death of his beloved grandfather when he was just 6 years old profoundly affected him. Nilsen later claimed that this event and the traumatic viewing of his grandfather's corpse contributed to his later behavioral psychopathology. Nilsen's mother remarried and had 4 more children, leaving him feeling isolated and lonely. Aware of his homosexual attractions but uncomfortable with them, he claimed no sexual encounters during adolescence. At 16, he enlisted in the army, where he trained as a cook and a butcher, skills he would later use in his gruesome activities. Nilsen's modus operandi involved luring young men to his home, strangling them, and sometimes drowning them. He would then wash their bodies, dress them, and often keep them for days before dismembering them. His victims were typically homeless or vulnerable individuals he encountered in bars or on the streets of London. Nilsen's methodology was both brutal and methodical. After killing his victims, he would clean their bodies and often engage in post-mortem rituals. He hid the bodies under floorboards or in cupboards, later dismembering them with a large kitchen knife. He would boil heads, hands, and feet to remove the flesh and disposed of other parts by burning or flushing them down the toilet. Living in a small apartment, Nilsen faced the challenge of disposing of multiple bodies. He resorted to storing body parts in plastic bags and burning them in his garden, crushing the bones to eliminate evidence. In his final apartment, he dismembered bodies into small pieces that could be flushed down the toilet, leading to the discovery that would end his killing spree. Despite several close calls with the police, it wasn't until February 1983 that Nilsen was finally apprehended. A drain blockage at his Muswell Hill apartment led to the discovery of human remains. When confronted by Detective Chief Inspector J, Nilsen calmly confessed to the murders, leading the police to the grisly evidence stored in his apartment. Nilsen was arrested on February 9, 1983. During his trial at the Old Bailey, he was charged with 6 counts of murder and 2 of attempted murder. On February 10th, Nilsen confessed to the police that he had additional human remains stored in his tea chest and bathroom, revealing the dismembered bodies of 3 men he had strangled. He admitted to killing 12 or 13 men since December 1978 at his previous address and attempting to kill approximately 7 others. A further search on the same day at Cranley Gardens uncovered more body parts, leading to his formal charge with Sinclair's murder on February 11th. Nilsen's interviews spanned over 30 hours, during which he provided detailed accounts of his crimes, expressing uncertainty about his motives and describing his ritualistic post-murder practices. He also admitted to boiling the heads of his victims to dispose of the brain and flesh. Nilsen dismembered the bodies at Cranley Gardens and Melrose Avenue, often retaining them until decomposition necessitated disposal, which he managed through dissection, burning, or flushing down the toilet. Despite his horrific actions, Nilsen showed a conflicted emotional response, indicating he did not enjoy killing, but was compelled by a fascination with death. Nilsen pleaded not guilty by reason of diminished responsibility, but the jury found him guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for at least 25 years. Psychologists and criminologists have extensively studied Nilsen's case. His troubled childhood, issues with sexual identity, and fascination with death and dismemberment paint a complex picture of a man deeply disturbed by his own desires. These experts often highlight how his actions were driven by a need for control and companionship, albeit in the most grotesque manner. Nilsen's case continues to serve as a chilling example of how unresolved psychological issues can manifest in extreme and violent behaviors. Dennis Nilsen spent his remaining years in prison, where he continued to write about his crimes. He died in 2018 from complications following surgery. His legacy is one of horror and tragedy, a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on true crime and psychological analysis. Remember to stay vigilant, and until next time, stay safe.